Hey tarot friends, it's Dustin from Modern Metaphysicae, and today I thought we could hang out and take a trip through the Symbolic Soul Tarot by Elisa Seitzinger. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. As always, you guys, if you're interested in picking up a copy of this deck for yourself, you can find a link to that down in the description box down below. Down there, you'll also find all kinds of other cool information like my social media where you can connect with me, as well as a link to my website where you can book a reading with me, and a link that takes you to Lo Metaphysicae, which is our channel community membership program where you can help support the channel and get access to some really cool exclusive content. So be sure to go check all that out when you get a chance. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about this deck, and give this video a thumbs up as it really does help the channel and the community to grow. So let's dive into this. This is a recent release from Lo Mimieux. It's mass market, and I think it's a perfect showcase of how nice mass market decks are getting these days. It comes in this really lovely matchbook style box, which I love. We all know I love me a good solid sturdy box, and I just, this is actually my favorite box style now that all the sort of like mass market publishers are utilizing. But inside you get a nice deck, and you also get a nice little guidebook. The guidebook itself is not anything really profound. It's your pretty standard Lo Mimieux multilingual guidebook with some basic keywords and a sort of description of the card itself. You can kind of pause here if you want to see what some of the descriptions of the cards are. But when I read through it, there was nothing particularly even mind-blowing, and even the spreads no longer even have graphics. It's just like numbered. So I just feel like they're kind of getting lazy with their guidebooks, which is disappointing because I feel like this this deserves so much more, because this deck is really beautiful, and I would love to see the sort of move towards putting more detailed information in the guidebook and just doing separate SKUs for the languages, because it's just such a missed opportunity in my opinion. So that's the guidebook. The cards themselves are really nice. They're printed on a cardstock that the other newer Lo Mimieux decks are not being printed on, and I think it's specifically because this deck does feature some gold foil stamping, which you can see here on the sort of title card, right? And I think that's why it uses a heavier cardstock in order to go through that process. But I will say I love this cardstock, and I wish that the other Lo Mimieux decks were also using this cardstock because it's really nice. So before we get into the specifics and details about the deck, let's do a walkthrough or a flip through and enjoy some music, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what I love, what I maybe not so much love, and how I've been working with this deck and what my thoughts are. So this is the Symbolic Soul Tarot. So that is the Symbolic Soul Tarot. I have been really loving this deck, you guys. Many of you who are members probably saw that I did the Your Head spreads with this deck, and they were so much fun to do. It's a very modern deck with an incredibly like whimsical feel to it, but it also sort of like harkens back to like traditional medieval style art, which you know I love and adore. And I love the inclusion of all of these additional little like symbols and tweaks and adjustments on the symbols, right? Like we don't have a dog, we have a little monkey, right? Like there's some very distinctive choices, right? The magician's second arm is a little disconnected, right? So you know there's all of these additional layers of symbolism that as you sit here and you work with the cards and you look at things, like even the tops of the pillars in the High Priestess here, like there's faces there. There's so much in this deck to unpack and work with, whether you're an intuitive reader or you're someone who's big into symbolism and kind of the historical meanings of the cards like I am. Like there's so much here, but it's such an amazing, wonderful, like modern take on the classic tarot. And obviously it follows a very traditional Rider-Waite-Smith system. You know, I love this hermit so much. Look at, I mean, the choice of the lantern being a beehive, and then you have like the stars as his face, and it's just so amazing. And then you have the little detail that I just love, right, is that like he's got a tail, right, and the snow is accumulating on his tail, which means that he's been standing there with that beehive in that position for a long time, long enough for the snow to accumulate, right? Like there's all these really subtle little things. I love the toilet. Like there's very sort of tongue-in-cheek things. It is a modern yet classic deck all at the same. I love this Hanged Man. It's just beautiful. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. And I will say this, that like Elisa's artwork is stunning, and she is an artist that I now follow because of this deck. Her work is just, it's really profound, it's provocative, yet classical all at the same time. And that's something that I really love and appreciate. So I've been kind of quietly obsessed with this deck for a while now. I've been using it for client readings and personal readings, and it's just something that I've really enjoyed. So I would really encourage you to check it out. And the foiling, which I know you guys, some of you can see probably pretty decently well, it's really subtle and it's done really well. There is, like, you can feel that it's embossed onto the cards, which is probably why they picked this like thicker, stiffer cardstock. But it enhances the deck in a really kind of beautiful way that doesn't feel like it's there to be a gimmick, or it's there to, like, I don't know, fill some hole that needs to be filled, because it really adds to and doesn't detract from. I will say this, I've watched a lot of reviews of this deck, and even as I'm filming this right now, kind of looking at the screen at what I'm seeing, like the camera pick up and stuff like this, I will say this, the deck in person is way more beautiful than it appears on the camera right now. I'll also say too that I'm not confident on how well this cardstock is going to wear. Like, I've already started to see some chipping and stuff on mine, and I've been using it quite a bit. You know, I've thought about maybe edging it in black so that's less noticeable and things like that. So there's some ways to get around that. But it being a mass market deck, right, if I chew through this, it's pretty easy to replace. So that's great. I love this Eight of Cups and the fact that it's a cat. It's just, we all know I'm an Eight of Cups person, and that is just a wonderful one. There's just some really clever things in this Page of Cups. Like, I love that the page is in the cup, right, and the fish now is the one holding the cup, right? Like, it's such a cool reversal of like the normal symbolism that we see in this card. So there's just really clever things like that, like the tear on the King of Cups, and you know, you have like the little boat down here, and it's just, there's so much to unpack. The aces in this deck are beautiful, by the way. I love how the hand kind of is coming out of the faces in a lot of these cards. It gives me like reminiscent sort of feelings of like hellmouths and things like that art historically. But it's just gorgeous. I've really been enjoying this, to say the least, right? Look at the Six of Swords. It's just, I like the subtlety of, I mean, we all know what the Six of Swords means, right? And the subtlety of like the little egg that's cracking, right? And you first think, oh, well, that represents the kind of like the things we're moving away from, right? But then you realize there's a little beak, right? So there's something new coming from those cracks, which I just really love and appreciate, right? It's such, and like the Mummy and the Eight of Swords, right? That idea of being sort of tied up and not being impacted by these things. And it's just, it's really clever. It's really, really clever. I love the sense of movement in this Knight of Swords. I could go through the entire deck and probably gush about every card in the way that I'm doing so right now. There's very little that I dislike about this deck. Sometimes I think things get a little too tongue-in-cheek, right, for me, but that's okay, right? That's fine. And, you know, it is what it is. I love this Page of Wands with the fire and the fact that his wand is like a cactus, and there's just really clever things, right, about this deck that I just really enjoy. This little Ace of Pence. This is such an interesting take on the Three of Pentacles. And you can read this very RWS, or you can really start to like dive into the additional symbols and things that they have on this card, on these cards, and really kind of use that to derive your readings as well, and to kind of shift some things around what you would normally talk about, right? So it's a beautiful deck. I love it so very much. So go check this one out if you haven't done so already. I am obsessed. It shuffles so well. It is a bit of a stiffer cardstock again because of that. What's the word I'm looking for? That embossing, right? So they had to pick a really sturdy cardstock for that so that it didn't like come through on the back, which some decks that have like a foil embossing, sometimes you'll get that like ghost image on the back. I will say too, I really like the back designs. They're fully reversible. They're nice. They're simple. It's not overcomplicated. It's not something I've seen a million times. It's unique. It matches the aesthetic of the deck, which I really appreciate. So, and like I said, I think it'll be great to sort of edge this black with like a nice black Sharpie or something like that. But it shuffles really well. The cards, when you like lay them in a spread, look fantastic together, right? Like they look great on the table as you're reading things. And yeah, I really love this deck. So go check this one out if you haven't done so already. Let me know down in the comment section down below if you have this or what your thoughts on it are. I would love to hear what you guys think. As always, you guys, thank you so much for coming to hang out with me and check out this tarot deck. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a comment, give this video a thumbs up if you haven't done so already. And as always, you guys, remember everyone's fighting a battle that you know nothing about. So just be kind out there, okay? We'll see you guys back around YouTube. Bye, everybody.